Hello. Right, so what you see here before you are two axes, well, an axe and a bit. I had this axe for a few years, and what I wanted to do was put a new handle on it, as you can see. So I've knocked that off and that's going away. I want to clean this up and put a handle on it. Now I want a handle a bit like this because I get on with this curved shape, but I want it made of wood. Just because it's more bushcrafty and more easier to fix in the field. Obviously you can see the difference. Don't get on with this shape, but I get on with this shape. So what I'm going to do is make one of these out of wood. So what you see here is a bit of wood that I found when the kids and the missus went out to our local woodland. They were chopping some trees down and there was a load of this. Not sure what type of wood it is, but I looked at it. It's not too wet, but it's not too dry either. I already tried stripping the bark off a bit, realised I can make a handle out of it. So what I'm going to try and do is first probably turn it into more of a flat, both sides, then trace this out, or as close to as I can, and then get carving it out. But what I want to try and do is use only the tools I have in my bug out kit. It's not all my bug out kit, that's bug out too, but that will come apparent in the next few videos. So what I will be using, Molly and my knife. So I'm going to start doing, just getting my knife and removing the bark, all of the outer bark, so we can see where the knots are, like this piece here, because I want to try and avoid all the knots. So it looks like a decent bit of wood. Once we get this bark off, we'll see where we're going with it. Okay, so I've got most of the bark off and selected the piece of wood I want. Now I want a bit that's relatively knot free because they create weak spots. So on examining this wood, I'm going to cut from about here, there's a knot here, and I've got pretty much up to here to play with. So I'm just going to mark that off. So I've got quite a large section to work off of. So now I'm just going to get my pruning saw out and chop this to a more manageable length. Okay, so that's a nice workable size. I decided to leave just a little extra at the top just in case, like fitting the head or something. So what you want to do is get your preferred head, find the right area. So I'm going to say about there, we hope. Now I'm just going to carve out a rough, draw out, the carving comes later, just roughly. This ain't an exact science, just you get an idea where you're going with this, like so. Now I might have to keep adding on to this drawing because I am going to probably give it a bit of a flat side. So I just now want to neaten these lines up so I know where I'm going. Right, okay, so I've got the wood and I've defined them lines a bit more now, so I know where it's going to end up and the rough layout of it. So next I think I want to get my best gal and get leveling this out, probably from just flatten the sides out, and I can use this natural roundness on the back and the front. Well, that's the idea anyway. Okay, so now we've got one flat, one round. Now you can see where I'm going with this. Now I knew roughly where that was, so I've got to draw that on this flat side, then do the same as this to that side, and then we can start shaping it. Okay, so the other camera decided to do a funny one on me. Anyway, where was we? Yes. Wrap my sling in my hand. Right, as you can see now, that's getting to a nice level. That's flat. I drew that out, and then we're pretty much erasing this, but we're getting to a grabbable width, and what we're going to do is just fine it up with the knife after we've done. Once it's past the emergency survival stage, I might tart it up really good and have it for a forever handle. Well, we'll see how it goes. What I'm doing now is keeping my thumbs, everything on this side, okay, and then I make big cuts like that. You always keep your hands this side. It's a bit difficult the smaller it gets, but you do not want to be whacking that there. I've done it before, as you can see. That was with the other one, but yeah, just keep doing that, and then as you can see it starts to splinter off. Nice angled cuts, and then a downward, and then they'll start flying off. I find it less work. You might have a different method, but this is my method, so use whatever method you want. Okay, so I've got the handle now. I want the thickness anyway. Ignore them lines, they're not important. These are the important ones, but I can get hold of that. You'll notice I left a little bit more meat up here just so I can tweak it to put the head on. You're going to need a lot of play with this, but as you can see that, but you're getting the idea. Okay, So I think the next thing I'm going to do now is just start making the shape more prominent. Now what you want to do is find something like a recess or something in the wood. This is what I made the shield boss with. It's full of water, but I'm just using the edge of it. In fact, I move the camera there. So just going across these lines, I can see it obviously, but it's in my position. Again, just taking little chunks off like that, and then you can just knock them out gently once you know where you are with it. A lot of people will go on about how you're gripping things, and there's no right or wrong way as long as you've got a secure grip. I think sometimes you'll notice a holder like that or like that, but as long as you've got a grip you're comfortable with and that you can do it with, you should be safe. I say should be, it's not an exact science. So there's a progress so far. Now I've just got to chop out this bit. I might use the pruning saw. Yes, I carry a pruning saw in my bug out kit. Obviously, as you saw it, I don't see why not. It's a good tool. So I'm just going to maybe clop this bit off, and then just start refining it. And then I think we're going to get to the nice stuff with the knife, just smoothing it out so it's usable. So now just to round it off, we're just going to take off all the sharp corners and bring it to a roundish state. Then we're going to polish it up with a knife. You don't need to go mental here, just little taps and then just knock off the broken bits, a bit like this. Tap tap tap, and then just sweep them off a bit. Don't be afraid to go the other way. Then you're going to polish this up, just try and get rid of all these high edges, and we'll do it again here. Then just a sweep like that. See, it's getting there, very slowly, but it's getting there. Right, so that's all the big chopping done. Again, we're leaving all this meat on here for now. We're just going to get this down to a level where we can hold it without getting splinters in our hand. Right, now we're going to pull out the knife. take a pew, get comfy, because it's going to take a while. I'm not going to show you a lot, I'm just going to go through it ever so. Just want to take off all these rough parts. This is not sharp enough. I've been debarking with it, but I think I might be sharpening that again. But it is starting to rain, as you can see by the water droplets on here, so I'm probably going to be going in and finishing this tomorrow. But just to give you an idea, just going to be smoothing out this. You ain't got to take, you ain't got to do this quickly. You can take as long as you want. I'm probably going to take forever because of the pace of life at the moment. There you go. You just want to get rid of that, all these rough bits. Now it will be hard to chop through it because they're catching. Look, you try. Once you get a nice smooth area, you're fine. So just keep going around and around and around. Right, so this is what happens when you slip. You get opened up. My fault, I weren't paying attention, but the tip caught me just as I pulled my hand away. That's what happened there the other day. 2 cuts in 1 week, not good. Me and this knife are going to have a falling out soon. Well, it's my fault, not hers. So I better get that patched up and I'll be right back. Yeah, blood everywhere. Drip, drip, drip. But at least I didn't get it on my nice new handle. I'd have been really pissed off. Yeah, so bandaged up and well, as you know, bleeding. Yeah, what I'm doing now, I've just got the shape. It's now getting to a holdable state. I ain't getting blisters and things from it, but I just want it as a survival thing. It will progress, but you'll see what I mean. So I think what we need to do now, after I've trimmed this up a bit more, just got all these rough edges off, is get that head fitted. What helps is if you put it down on your surface, take the back of the blade and then just shave off. In effect, sanding, a very rough, bumpy sanding. It's all just about finding the right position. And just take off all the little high spots you can see, just so you can run your hand over it, and your hand is a very good way of testing how sharp your blade is. Yeah, you can just turn it round once you get the right, and just shave it up a bit. Right, so just brush off a bit, give yourself a nice smooth area. Now, lay it down, make sure you got your head up the right way. So I think about there would be alright, and I've got a bit of meat on the back here. So just going to mark out where I'm going to ideally have the bottom and where the top goes. So this is, I'm just going to do it all the way round, just so I know on both sides, because I've got to take material off of both sides. See, if you do it that way, you get almost a good, so work from the line you've been on, try and keep it as straight as possible, and then the same here. As I said before, this ain't going to be an exact science. See, look, discovered that there, ain't going to properly, actually it will, yeah, that'll be fine, because that's all going to disappear and it'll be full here, but we can still slide it down if we have to. Right, so for the observant ones among you, I've took that nasty angled bit off just so I can lay it down like that. Did that with my pruning saw that lives in my kit. Right, so now you want to mark out where the centre is and where you're going to, so you can use this as a guide, and the circle you're going to draw through the middle. And while we're looking at it, notice that grain is running straight down the centre of this handle. I should have pointed that out. When you're looking for a bit of wood, you want the grain to go all the way down, so as strong as you can get it. Again, this bit's got no knots as far as I can tell at the moment. Oh, there's a miniature one there, but if it has got knots, you want to keep them away from this area and just keep them down the bottom. So you want to do, put that on the surface and keep it straight, and now you want to try and find your centre. So this can be a bit fiddly, and you want to make sure you've got this blade straight with the handle. See, otherwise you're going to have an axe that goes like that, and it's either going to break or you're never going to cut anything straight. You want to make sure it all lines up with your hand, so probably try and keep that centre part in the centre. Now you can use a bit of charcoal for this if you want from your fire in the survival situation, but I have a pencil, I have a pen in my EDC, but every bug out kit should have a writing implement, notepad, pen, just in case you've got to write something down. Right, so I've got our rough guide here, and now what we're going to do is chisel all this and this away so we can get that on there. What I like to do is just knock all the corners off first, and then knock every other corner off as you go round until you get to that centre part. Much easier that way. You want to try and avoid doing that as well. So you need very good eye-hand coordination. So you're going to keep hitting it now. It doesn't matter with a survivor one, but what I intend to do with it later, that's going to be a sod to knock out of there. don't forget, it never hurts just to revisit your lines, just to see where you're going to end up. Never hurts. So just give yourself a rough guide all the time, so you know exactly where you are. And if you have to go back to your knife, go back to it, just to tune everything in. In fact, it's a lot easier. Use your bigger knife for the rough stuff, and this for the more delicate stuff. Just take them bits off. Now, it could be the smallest shaving now that you're going by. As you can see, that's starting to line up. Okay, that's starting to fit on there now. Did have it in a minute ago. There you go. So that's now starting to fit. So it's now just gauging it down from. Oh yeah, so get your pencil again. So we're going to want to take not too much. Always give yourself extra, because this has got to be a very tight fit. So guesstimating just a little bit. We just want to take that off. Just make a little indentation in there, just to give yourself some play. It doesn't hurt just to do the old how you split logs. Lay your chopper along your line and tap. There you go, just gives you enough, and you should be able to work them bits out. So if you need to weaken the wood at the top, just give it a tap, turn it into little slices. There we go. So that should start fitting nicer. A little bit more work, but we are getting there. Right, so it's getting better. It's been raining, but we're there. Now that's on quite firm. Now you can hit it on like that onto a hard object. Use the back of your parang, machete, whatever you have, or a rock. But that's on. Now you could put a wedge in there. In a survival situation, that might be a bit of a problem, and you'd have to make do with this. But for now, that's done. So we've established that that works. Now bear in mind, this hasn't been sharpened, we've done nothing to the blade yet, so it's quite dull, but it still split that pallet block. Oh yeah, lovely tools, a bench, I'm in the dry, and a vise. Yep, and there's some rawhide in there, which I'll make that apparent later. But this is gonna be nice. Right, Now, if this was a survival situation and my only axe handle broke, that's finished. That is usable, as you've just seen with the pallet block. But what I'm going to do now is I want this for keeps. So I'm going to now take this into the shed. So the survival bit of this video is over, and now I'm going to use the tools in the shed to make this really nice and work on this. So I'll see you in the shed. Right, so that's the survival bit of this video over. We're now going to turn this into a proper axe handle, not an emergency axe handle. So here we go. So we've now proved that we can use, well, I can use anyway, what's in my bug out kit, well, bug out 2 as I call it, but there'll be a video about why I call it that. But bug out 2 can help me if my axe breaks. So what I'm going to do now is get a rasp on this, level it all out, make it nice and smooth, and start filing it down. Maybe get some sandpaper on it. I'm going to drill a hole in here for some cord, and I'm going to put some rawhide as a protector here, probably about to there. I'm going to see how that works. So now I'm just doing lines going across that way, moving along, just like that. You can see the colour difference where my dirty hands have been. I'm just rounding it all out, and I'm going to go over that with some sandpaper. And it never hurts just to brush out your files, nice wire brush, and just clean all that crap out of there, just so you've got maximum effect with your files or your rasps. What I want to do with the heel of this is just tart the edge up. Use a Stanley knife. Could be a bit sharper. Need to change the blade actually. So just put like a little flat edge all the way around, I think. Don't know why. I just think it'll look nice. Second thoughts, I might just do it with the rasp. Yeah, that's better. Just blend the edges in. I think it's a handmade axe, so That's the machine sanding done now. It's getting nice and smooth. Just going to hand sand it now. It's the final bit of sanding, and then what I might do is put some teak oil in this to protect the wood, and I think I'm going to call that a day and get back to this tomorrow. Right, that's the machine sanding done now. It's getting nice and smooth. Just going to hand sand it now. It's the final bit of sanding, and then what I might do is put some teak oil in this to protect the wood, and I think I'm going to call that a day and get back to this tomorrow. Right, that's the machine sanding done now. It's getting nice and smooth. Just going to hand sand it now. It's the final bit of sanding, and then what I might do is put some teak oil in this to protect the wood, and I think I'm going to call that a day and get back to this tomorrow. Right, so that's been dusted off, sanded down. Always a favourite of mine, the teak oil bit. Always give it a shake. Oh, damn troll caps. There you go. That's off. There you go. So we just fold our rag into a little bit, just dampen it in an area, and the first coat, yeah, always the best. Just protects the wood. You have to give this a few coats. What I'm going to, I'm going to give this a few coats of this until it won't absorb anymore, and then I'm going to get a nice clear varnish on it. Now, I don't normally varnish wood, but I'm going to be using this quite a bit, so I want to try and put some varnish on it. Because I've got plans, and this is going to go through some use. So that's what I'm going to do, just put a little bit of varnish on it. Most probably tomorrow. I'm not doing it tonight. I give the wood time to settle here. And to absorb the oil. And what I might do is burn me name into the bottom. I might put Ammo Joe burnt into the bottom. Just because I'm going to start signing things and marking things that I've made, so I can look back on them in a few years and get a bit sentimental about it. Right, so just before I knock off for the night, I've poured a load of the teak oil in here so it soaks in to the top and just seeps into this bit of wood. It's going to take a lot of strain. Now, there was this little wedge thing that came out of the old handle for this blade. Now what I'm just doing is just oiled it up. I'm going to knock it into here just to tighten every last little bit up in there. Now I'll open it out, and that's in there permanent. Okay, so it's a new day, and what I decided, I want to go a different way with this. I've oiled the wood, so that's protected, and I'm going to use this Cuprinol Brazil nut. Now, I've used it on a few things, and I really like it. So what I figured I'm going to do is just paint that on, and this will really protect this wood, and it will just also fill in any little dips and things in there. Just give it a much more nicer texture and colour, I think. I do paint a lot of stuff in this. I did my son's project with him for school. We made a Viking shield, and I painted all the back of it in this because we made it out of wood and metal. I don't do things little. He does a school project and I go over the top with it. But yeah, we went to take it in the car in the morning. It's so heavy he couldn't carry it. A real sword, real shield. Well, the sword was made of wood, not metal. And that would have just been stupid. I don't think his teachers would have liked him taking in a real metal Viking sword, but yeah, it had a metal boss on the shield. Anyway, I'm digressing here, but so I'm going to paint this in cuprinol, Brazil nut, if you want to know this colour. I'm going to do a few coats of that, but I am still going to varnish this, and then we might look at getting the rawhide soaked and ready to go on here, and then just start tidying up the blade. Just a note of safety: when you're using teak oil or specially boiled linseed oil, always put the cloth in a place where, because this can spontaneously combust, so bang it in a fire bin or just burn it, or leave it outside in a saucepan or something, but never leave it in your shed because these will spontaneously combust. Don't know why, but you know, just be aware of that. Alright, so as you know, what I want to do is put some rawhide along, probably up to about here or maybe here, just to protect this if we do miss and hit it on something. Also, I think it'll give it a nice look. So what I'm going to use is a source of rawhide. Now, I'm always doing this. Yep, dog bones, 100% rawhide, and all you've got to do is submerge that in water for a few hours or maybe overnight. Take the label off, and then that will soften up. I mean, that is rock hard, see, and that's what it will dry like. So when it'll go like soggy as paper when it's wet, and you can wrap it around anything, stitch it, whatever, and then it'll dry it rock hard and constrict onto wherever it's on, and it makes perfect protection for things. So what I'm going to do is just pop that in a bowl there it fits. You can bung it in the sink if you want. Now I just need to find a jug. Bit of that. And you just want to completely cover that in water to get it nice and soaked. Now what you'll find is they might float up sometimes. Oh, yeah, this one's going to float up, so you want to hold it down with something heavy to just completely submerge it. That's why I'm doing it on the draining bowl, because this might spill over. Yeah, so I'm going to work out how to hold that down with something, and when it's all moist and wet and soggy, we can start working with it. I found filling the kettle up with water works quite well actually, makes a nice weight. Okay, right, so I've took the kettle off, as you can see, and now it's starting to, it's only been like what, 2 hours, and it's starting to unravel already. I've got to go out now anyway, but when I get back that should be done, and I might be able to do some of this tonight. But as you can see, you get a lot of rawhide. I can't even get it all in shot here. The middle's still hard because what being there, load more loose bits, but that is going to be plenty thick enough. It's what, 2 mil thick, 2-3 mil, and that's going to be perfect for the axe. I might even have enough left over to make a sheath to go over the blade, so well, I will do, so I might make one of them as well. So yeah, we could just keep that on soak till we get back. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so we're about 4 or 5 days into this video now, so it's took a while, but that's the rawhide. It only took overnight to get it to this stage. It didn't take 4 or 5 days. It's just how long I've been doing this. So we've got, like, oh, you get a nice thick bit there. Normally they fill this full of load of scrappy bits, but we've got 3 very nice bits here. So we're going to get this dried off and start getting it on that axe. Right, so dry it off with a tea towel or something. Now you want to find a nice flawless bit, nice thick flawless bit. So I'm going to pick this side, and you just want to lay your axe out on it, where you're going to line it up. So yeah, about there. Make sure you've got plenty of reach around, which we have. So I'm going to chop it about there. Just a pair of scissors. Make a small mark where you are, and then get cutting. It's going to take a while to get through. Depends how good your scissors are. I am going to switch to a blade soon for doing this. I just want to get this off. Easier with scissors. Could use a Stanley knife, but I might go and get a knife to cut that with. Okay, chopping board and a bread knife is more effective for this. The thicker it is, the easier with this. A thin bit, well, you wouldn't use a thin bit anyway. You want this to protect that. Like I said, it can be bloody tough to get through. You can hear a little girl singing in the background. Yes. Yes, I'm doing a video.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Alright, thank you. Or you can sing for the world if you want. You want to sing? No one can see you, but they can hear you. Millions and millions of people are watching you now. Well, listening to you anyway. So there's a bit of rawhide, and I'm just going to work out, I'm just going to neaten it up with a ruler, cut it out into a nice perfect square, and then get it onto there. Alright, so just find yourself a straight edge like the back of it. It ain't got to be neat, and the EDC pen, which is just a standard biro, and just give yourself a rough line just to go by, because you just want it a bit straighter, that's all. Nothing fancy. It's just a guide. Right, it's that wrapped around there quite nicely. It's nice and also nice around the edge there. Just do the bottom, and then we're going to start. I think maybe we're going to sew this. I'm not sure. I'm going to find like a nylon thread or something first, but or I could stitch it with a bit of thin rawhide. But that's for another day. Right, so this video now that I'm filming, this clip is actually, say, a few months old now compared to what you've just seen, because, well, time got away from me. I never got to finish this project, but as far as it is, this is how it's going to be now. I never got a chance to clear up the blade, still rusty, but that's another video. I've couponed all of this so it's all weatherproof. Now, at this point in time, the handle's dry, so that's all dry in there. Now, I haven't reviewed the last footage we've done, so I can't remember where we got up to, but this is the rawhide. See, it's dry now, and you can see where I've stitched it, and just here where it's constricted, but that's on there, that ain't going to come off, not at all. So that's going to protect it if we do hit something. Protected that. That's a usable axe, so I've already hit a few things with it, had no problems. What I was going to do is drill a hole in here and then loop a bit of paracord through, but I'll do that in my own time. I don't need to teach you how to drill a hole and stick a bit of cord through it. I'm sure you can do that without me showing you. and I was also going to make some sort of sheath, some maybe rawhide or leather. Had a go at that and it didn't work out, so I've got an idea with plastic thing off of an oil can for a car. So that's what I'm going to do. It involves heat torch, rivets, things like that. That is another video. So there will be another video on this axe, but I just wanted to get this video finished and out of the way so I can clear the memory on the camera and then get on with the next bits. But I said I was going to deliver, and I'm delivering. So yeah, it's coffee time, by the way. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.